Okay, The End of Strange Lizards by Olive L. Earle. Remember, this book was written some time ago. What year did it tell us here? 1964 by William Morrow and Company, New York, by Olive L. Earle. The rust-brown land iguana lives in the same region, but away from the shore. He is somewhat smaller though more aggressive than his easygoing marine relative. Look at him. Whoa. He lives in clefts in the rock or digs burrows with his strong claws. He, too, is herbivorous. It means eats only vegetables, doesn't it? And especially fond of cactus flowers and fruit. The iguana, often called the common iguana, is a vegetarian also. He is a common lizard in Central America and in the northern parts of South America and in some islands of the West Indies. He is a tree dweller and spends much of his time stretched along a branch, basking in the sun or browsing on leaves. His sharp claws make tree climbing easy for him, and he uses them, too, for digging his burrow. That's his hole in the ground or his home, isn't it? A fully grown common iguana may be about 5 feet long, including his tail, which takes up 2/3 of his total length. 5 feet long. That's as much as Gigi is tall, my mom. He is mainly tannish green in color and has dark bars on his sides. Along his spine, he is decorated with a high ridge of fringe that tapers as it reaches the tail. There is a row of pointed scales along the dewlap beneath his chin. This iguana is perfectly at home in water. He swims by thrashing his long tail from side to side. On land, he uses his tail as a weapon to swing against a small enemy. Man is this lizard's worst enemy because, unfortunately for the iguana, his flesh is enjoyed by many. He's hunted perpetually and is sent to market in quantities. The common iguana is one of the many lizards that are at home in trees. The group known as the flying lizards are arboreal, or tree-inhabiting. These reptiles do not fly in the way birds and bats do, for they do not have movable wings. Rather, they glide through the air in much the same way as a flying squirrel does. A flying lizard parachutes by spreading the broad web-like skin or membrane that fans out from the body, from the fore to hind leg. Long ribs support the membranes, which are folded against a lizard's sides when they are not in use. Some of the members of this group, which can be 10 inches in length, look like big orange and black winged butterflies when they make a 40-yard swoop from one tree to another. Flying lizards, 40 yards. That's almost half a football field, kids. Flying lizards are found in South Asia. Another glider who lives in Java belongs to the very large family of lizards called geckos. Sometimes he is called the flying gecko. He has an expanding fold of skin along the sides of his body, flaps of skin along his tail, and webbed toes. Such fittings help support him when he jumps. Many geckos are talkative reptiles, and the whole family gets its name from the call of a North African species. This little lizard repeatedly cries out, "Gecko, gecko!" Other varieties have different calls, from croaks to cackles. One may call toke, another may say chucha, chucha, another may bark chick-chack, depending on what he seems to call himself. The gecko goes by various names in different countries in which he lives. The family is widespread, living in many warm areas of the world. The typical gecko is a small, harmless creature who's usually active at night. He likes to hunt insects, and in search of them, he often becomes a house lizard. Indoors, he runs swiftly up the walls or hangs upside down from the ceiling. Such a gecko's feet are designed for climbing. The underside of his widened toes are fitted with crosswise ridges that have microscopic bristles on them. These bristles can take hold of the slightest roughness of a surface. Even dust gives the gecko a safe foothold. Wow. Every gecko is an expert at snapping off his tail, but the replacement that grows may be less elaborate or fancy than the original one. Some kinds of geckos have, like snakes, eyelids that are fixed in place. It means they don't move. The lower lid is greatly enlarged and forms a transparent or see-through window through which the eye stares. And some geckos have eyes that resemble the eyes of a cat. In this family of lizards, there are members that are noted for their queer or odd tails. We use the word odd now. In Australia, there's an 8-inch gecko with very wide flaps of skin along the sides of his tail. He is known as the leaf-tailed gecko. Some Australian geckos are called knob-tailed because the short tail ends in a round knob. Which one's the leaf-tailed? Aha! There's the knob-tailed. We can tell, can't we? In Australia, too, lives the largest known skink. He is 2 feet long, and he is called a blue-tongued skink. He is one of the more than 600 species scattered over the world. Generally, skinks are rather short-legged, active lizards with smooth, glossy scales. Various kinds are found almost all over the United States. Perhaps the strangest of this group is the one in southern Florida. Rarely seen, the sand skink, as he is called, does not have the normal 5 toes of a typical lizard. Instead, his tiny legs have only 1 toe on each front foot and 2 toes on each back foot. Looky there. His head, with its small eyes and inset lower jaw, is adapted for pushing his way beneath the sandy or dry soil in which he lives. He's only about 2 inches long. The 5-lined skink, common in the eastern and central sections of this country, the United States, has a bright blue tail when he is young. He changes color as he matures. He keeps the lengthwise light or yellowish lines, but he becomes brown where he was formerly black, and the blue disappears from the tail. He parts his tail readily when he wants to distract an enemy. The female 5-lined skink lays up to 20 eggs in a hole in the ground, perhaps in a rotting log. She coils among the eggs, and she may guard them from small enemies. She also turns them over frequently. There we go. The female caring for her eggs in this way is uncommon among lizards. It is a month or more before the baby skinks hatch. When they are fully grown, each may reach a length of from 7 to 9 inches. The stories of only a few of the many strange lizards are told in this book. Herpetologists, zoologists who specialize in the study of reptiles and amphibians, continue to find out more and more about lizards, and it is very possible that there are new species yet to be discovered. And then the index has lots of interesting information too. But thank you for listening to this book with Mimi. It was a very interesting book, and I learned a lot from it.